Hello and welcome, Rocket League fans. We are here. We are live. We're here with FBI Tugboat Man, Time to Light. Yes, that is correct. J Turbo and Quantum Deathcat did not change their physical appearance in the past 10 minutes. You have new casters. You have new casters now. FBI Tugboat and Time to Light. We got a little A-Stream action in for you guys earlier. A little B-Stream action coming in for you guys now. Unless I'm wrong, we just came off of a pretty rough Northern Arizona University victory there. 3-0 sweep. And we got the University of North Dakota taking on the University of Southern California.
And coming out of that, Northern Arizona continuing their dominance out of the Big Sky Conference, now moving into two teams that are coming off victories out of week number 1. North Dakota with a forfeit win, USC just a straight-up best-of-5 series win. Nonetheless, 1-0 coming into this week. Both these teams would like to continue their lossless streak as they move into our third week of play.
Exactly. Moving on in here and trying to keep the dream alive. Standard Rocket League action, best of 5 all the way through, and we'll get this action started here in just a couple of seconds. The University of Southern California coming on in, and a newer entrant within the conference of the EGF, the Electronic Gaming Federation, but not new to the great game of Rocket League whatsoever. Southern California out there in LA and whatnot have been doing esports stuff quite a while. University of North Dakota made quite a splash last EGF season, you could say.
Yeah, and USC actually being introduced to EGF because of the Valorant Power Series, and then really coming in with the other games as a whole. So a nice little introductory tournament set rather than just full league, and then Valorant actually turning into a full league this season. USC is continuing with their attempt at taking over Valorant. That's over on Saturdays and then Fridays as we move into the later stages of October and early November. But nonetheless, it's still Rocket League, still 5 minutes a game, still a best-of-5 series. In this series specifically, you're really looking for aggression from USC. North Dakota, it's been a little bit of a difficult road from them last season overall. Not the worst thing in the world by any means, but they really need to work on finding passing plays rather than just sending the ball forward, as I think you and I saw with the University of Delaware series earlier on today.
Yeah, just having purpose, not just hoisting this ball up and over, and that's going to be a Buddy Bowler goal, maybe a possible, or I guess technical own goal. This defender here on the other side, that is VTR, having to play this one regardless. Couldn't quite get onto that right edge there. Time to Light.
It's a little difficult to come back from, at least to open things up. It is North Dakota picking up the opening goal. Zune, instead of trying to send it directly on goal, sets themselves up for a pass across, of which does indeed come through, but it's cut off at the pass, quite literally at that. Buddy Bowler, a clearance this time around. However, no own goal found by the Trojans. Will turn that into offense for them. VTR, decent fake, but it's now real with the shot forward. Rebel finds the shot and the goal. USC ties right back up.
There you go, 40 seconds into this one. First goal came about 25 seconds or so, 97 kilometers per hour, quite fast on this one. Rebel doing some fancy stuff to tie this one all the way up. Buddy Bowler, Zoom Gamer, both with similar decals as well, like the dragons and whatnot.
Hey, I'm a fan of fun decals. I think I brought this up in our first series. I don't fully remember. I think it was the Falcons esports one, but that is something that we may be able to talk about a little later on. Turtle, ball forward. But the real question remains for North Dakota, can they come back from a goal? Because USC is technically up 2-0, just in terms of one own goal and one goal on the other side. They need to be able to continue with their goal-scoring continuance, and, I mean, scoring that one across on North Dakota's goal this time around, seemingly good. Nice save, though, in the back line.
Can't quite get there as the second one. Zune Gamer foisting this one right side to try and keep this, but it just ends up mid-pitch. Now Wordy with a solid hit over. Buddy Bowler forced to cut right, send this one high and wide. This is going to give everybody time to redirect, and USC, the University of Southern California, has come forth and maintained possession. Went mid-pitch for just a little while, but now Rebel up. Buddy Bowler meets him there and hits this to the right side to try and get this defense a little bit more time to come out.
And finally, you see North Dakota clear their own zone. Rebel waits as Wordy takes over, shot forward just off that far right side, and North Dakota will be able to clear things out. It's USC again to create attacking opportunities, another attacking opportunity off a well-placed pass there for North Dakota, but that does not turn into a goal-scoring opportunity. I mean, an opportunity, yeah, a good one, maybe not so much.
Yeah, the attempt was made, but no points on board the past minute or so. Zoom Gamer is kind of hanging out in their own goal. Once they get comfortable and familiar there, if he's going to be there later, right?
suppose. I mean, the question now remains for USC, because a lot of questions are usually put forward in such a long game of Rocket League, albeit 5 minutes, not the longest thing in the world. Fairly decent bit of time, especially in such a proactive game such as car soccer in a box. It's weird for them to continue with this aggression. Oh, and UND have an own goal of their own.
Okay.
Oh, geez.
So that's one kind of technical own goal, one pretty clear cut right here. Rebel's going to get the achievement for it, but Buddy Bowler just trying to get to this corner and get up under this one does nothing more than kind of send this one flying on the inside corner. Halftime now is University of Southern California up by 1.
That's a little bit of a difficult one to open things up. Nice pass forward. USC now looking for a back pass. It's a lot more team play, I feel, from USC, and that's been a consistent thing, not only in the midfield, but on this North Dakota attacking and, or technically North Dakota defending half. Another shot forward, this time saved on the backside, as Turtle Sir will send that back to midfield. But USC have their rotation set up properly and are ready for a lot of clearances put forward by North Dakota.
120 seconds left in this one. North Dakota has really just been playing a lot of defense the past 30, 45 seconds or so since our previous. Southern California finally hits this one out. Rebel hitting it left side, and now taking this one across corners. Defense can't really keep it up on the first one. Second one is going to be much more successful as we go now offensive position the other way. VTR, nice hit over the left side. University of Southern California has their work cut out for them defensively.
And ball forward again, but it's USC now playing real proactively versus UND's reactive defense. And the issue for UND is when you play reactively, you also can't prep yourself up for success, as we've seen from the Southern California Trojans. Rebel, with that proactivity, looking for a shot over, will find it past 1. Nothing past Turtle Sir, however. The second line of defense is indeed there. USC, again, prepping themselves for a shot this time around. Third attempt will come through. That'll go in. VTR will make it 2 in favor of USC. 2 goals the difference, rather than 2 goals total.
Yeah, one score like all the way across here for VTR. Got a save, got 1 attempted shot on 1 goal, and has the assist. A well-rounded player indeed here. Time to light.
Yeah, and now it's VTR really making up for where they left off in terms of the technical own goal we saw to open up the game. They make up for it and do indeed score to remedy their previous fallacy. USC make it 3-1, and oh, they're looking to make it 4. That happened. That's all.
Yeah. Normally when UND players seem like they're, well, really any defensive player comes running up at this, we're going to think maybe it's going to be an own goal. We've already seen a couple the other way, but Rebel now 5 shots attempted, second one in here, and a 3-score difference for the University of Southern California here in game number 1 might prove insurmountable.
And how do you hit that shot, but where do you miss is the opening of open nets? That... You know, I feel like that's Rocket League in a nutshell. Open nets are impossible to hit, but a casual flip off the corner, setting yourself up for an odd shot, to say the very least, easy. Easier said than done here for North Dakota to come back from a 3-goal deficit. Only 30 seconds to do so, all of you mathematicians out there. 10 seconds a goal, a requisite now for UND, and it's not looking good for them. First shot forward, they're looking for a bump, but off the ceiling of the goal, amazing save on the back line, and now into offense here for USC again.
The Turtle Sir not going to have anything of it. We've seen this the other way. Turtle Sir almost puts a bow on top of this, wraps it up, and opens the present themselves. That is not going to matter. It's not going to change anything here in our game number 1, though. University of Southern California's 4 scores, and 3-score difference there. University of North Dakota just 1. Going to prove truly insurmountable. VTR, Wordy, and Rebel take the first right here in no small part. Due to the fact that they had 8 shots attempted, University of North Dakota only coming in with 5. I'd hate to beat the same drum across EGF broadcast here at Time to Light, but you simply have to have more attempted shots on these. That is, it's not just the shots themselves, it's indicative of the time spent in possession and with possession of this ball. Again, usually, outside the own goals, usually when you have more time of possessions, it equals out to more scores.
Yeah, and I'm going to remind you that the own goals you're talking about, it was technically 3-0 without the own goals. So North Dakota technically didn't score, or technically did if you count the own goal as a goal. Nonetheless, a 4-1 victory and a 3-goal deficit, irregardless of those theoretics. We deal with absolutes here, and USC absolutely dominated game number 1. The first little segment, a little chaotic to say the very least, but a win nonetheless, as they really put in the work later on. And later in that game, it was off the back of team play and not playing for just straight clearances. It was the cohesion that worked out for the Trojans. We'll see if that continues into game number 2. I'm going to go back to the old terrible adage that you saw on a poster in most of your statistics professors' classrooms. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and Rebel takes an opener, as do USC in terms of a goal.
And this is maybe a bit of an easy one, but a 100% shot completion rate for Rebel there. 9 seconds on in for the University of Southern California. Now, I said it before, I'll say it again. I would love to see maybe, like, discount this game number 2. Game number 3 we're guaranteed for regardless, right? I would love to see North Dakota come out and score early because we haven't seen the University of Southern California play from behind, like, whatsoever. They've dealt with offensive pressure decently, but again, I mean, again, not trying to beat the same drum, but own goals, like, one is excusable. Watching your opponents do it as well, though, is almost unthinkable at high level Rocket League.
Yeah, and this is a fairly high level, especially with these two teams coming into this off a win in week number 1. Again, I'll reiterate the fact that it was North Dakota to win off of a forfeit, but that doesn't matter. A win's a win. They walk away with one and are looking to continue with another. Wordy up and over, shot through, but the 50 away. Technically a 66-33 as it stands with 2 players on the defensive side of that one. Nonetheless, it is UND to clear out, but only to half field.
I don't like the math. I don't like the math. Ooh, Zoom Gamer says they don't like it either, but can't quite get to the second one. There, Rebel 4 shots attempted in, what, 62 seconds? Crazy stuff. Zoom Gamer really sacrificing the body to go over to this one. And even, I didn't even see the second hit right there. I didn't even get to see the second hit, but Zoom Gamer able to, like, come back and still hit it, but the angle on the second block just not true.
The other issue there for North Dakota is the fact it was a little bit of a double commit on the defensive line there, leaving yourself out of position. Zune Gamer did get both touches. Just a little bit of help would have been maybe nice. Another shot forward. This time it is indeed saved, but VTR, another follow-up. Back-to-back-to-back follow-up goals there for USC.
Yeah, and like, the members of University of North Dakota, they're not finding trouble getting there initially. It's just always those second hits, and this time it was VDR, last time it was Rebel. Somebody is always there for the Trojans to come forth, pick up this ball, turn that one into points. A little demo action across the bottom as Zoom Gamer put back to respawn for just a couple of seconds.
Again, UND unfortunately throw the ball away, and Rebels now up with it. Gets a flip reset. They're going to work with it, but Turtle Sir will send that away. Looking to send it off that back wall. It does indeed waterfall down, but it is sent away, only for the time being, though, by North Dakota. A similar situation as to what we saw with RIT over on the main stream about 3.5 hours ago was the notion of not being able to clear your own zone and having pressure build up over time. North Dakota's rotations, I think, are being thrown off continuously with that situation indeed being the case, and something they now have to remedy is, well, can they deal with that? And I feel, at least at a cursory glance, the answer is not really.
The answer, hopefully, will become crystal clear by the end of this 3 minutes or so that is left right here. Time to light. Rebel and the rest of Southern California trying here. Another double commit, and not a whole lot for it either. Like, if you're getting crazy pinch play double commits, then okay, go for it, right? If you're literally sending this down to the other side of the pitch every single time you come up with a teammate to go forth and commit with 2 different players on defense, which you're generally not supposed to do, then cool, go for it. As it is, these are very weak hits when the double commit does come in, and that's accounted for 2 of these University of Southern California goals.
North Dakota looking for their first. Turtle Sir on the front line, trying to create some chaos for the Trojans, is unfortunately unsuccessful in doing so. Rebel, a little bit of patience, never hurt anybody, especially for USC, who's seemingly been all but proactive, or all but reactive, I suppose. They've been patient, they've been really good with their decision making, and sometimes, yeah, you can see difficulties arise. That's exactly what happens.
Talk about earning a goal right here. The demo comes off the back. His VTR teammate Wordy, the only ones there. Or no, excuse me, Wordy got demoed. Rebel, excuse me, the only ones there, and Rebel was even coming off of a demo. So a double demo right there yields the first goal here for the University of North Dakota. I'm not surprised ultimately that they didn't get shut out. Like, they already scored earlier, and they're playing good Rocket League. It's just like the edges, right? They just need to clean up the edges a little bit. It's just that extra like upper percentiles. It's like that extra little bit of boost, that extra few seconds, extra quickness that the University of Southern California has over them right now.
Yeah, and their defense is playing fairly well for how many shots they're being put on. Clearing the zone, a little easier said than done for North Dakota. The main issues that arise is turning that defense, of which has been so much of an issue for them, the issue mainly being the fact they have to play a crap ton of it, into the offense, of which really hasn't existed, not only because it's not being pushed forward, but because North Dakota is continuously forced to clear the zone, and doing so, they just send the ball forward. They don't play possession, and USC are able to work off of that and create some of their own possession. That was not the case in that situation. North Dakota really put the pressure on USC, build an offensive zone time, and find a goal off the back of it. That's a goal we've been looking for from University of North Dakota, and finishing another conversation for them, finally they do. That's at least one goal back, but a 2-goal deficit still to work off of, and some weird engagements on the back line. I think they're still going to score here. What? That happened.
Yeah,
okay.
An interesting offense thus far, but still ends with Rebel. Yeah, like there's just only so many shots that can come over here while every single one gets blocked away. But VTR does block that one initially. I think they were going for like the drip down type situation.
Yeah.
Put top car on like on top of their car on top of that ball, angle it down because defenders on the other side. Not sure, but you know the goal came a couple seconds later.
Goal's a goal in a 4-1 deficit, a consistency between these teams. We saw that in the first game. We've seen it now here. The question is, will it continue? North Dakota, again, aggression the attacking side, but Rebel, proactivity on the defense. Good to get up and clear the zone. Wordy does the same. Turtlesir does send it into the midfield, but Buddy Boulder there to contest, and VTR will get a turtle goal, albeit not credited by the game, but a goal nonetheless for USC to now make it 5.
There you go. Turtle. Love to see it. Love to see it. No turtle sir here. No, the turtle goal. The upside down little nose end right there as USC improves their score difference at how they ended game number 1. But this one with 20 seconds left. University of North Dakota, physically possible. Not going to happen though.
I mean, they could, just average a goal every 3 seconds, make it one of the biggest comebacks in Rocket League history, much less EGFC history. Just a casual comeback of 4 goals, and, now it's mathematically impossible. But it could have been when I started the conversation. Nonetheless, USC will pick up game number 2, 4-1 in game 1, 5-1 in game 2. Consistency, if anything, for USC. They had to give up a goal in game number 1. That's why VTR owned gold, because they knew North Dakota would score in game 2. And they want to make sure that nothing changes between the games. Change is not fun.
Change is not fun. Change is not fun. People have problem with change, right? It's a huge source of stress in our lives, like moving houses or something like that. I don't know. University of Southern California, 4-1 victory, game number 1, 5-1 victory, game number 2. If we're picking horses right here, I'm gonna have to say it's gonna be the University of Southern California in probably 3 games here. North Dakota, kind of having the same like the issues that we highlighted during the cast. They have come in, and a lot of times they're just playing like reactively. They're not going forth and like having their own game plan and whatnot. And at a certain point, you kind of have to, especially when it comes to offensive positioning and whatnot. There's not been many infield passes. There's been a whole lot of just hit the ball, and hopefully it goes the other side of the pitch, so we have a couple of seconds respite, and that's just not how you play like Rocket League like efficiently.
And sometimes the best defense is a fairly good offense, and North Dakota just hasn't had a consistent enough offense to give their defense a break. It's kind of a conversation going to American football, where you never want to put your defense on the field for too long. That's been the case for North Dakota. Now, technically, the same 3 players play on both sides of the pitch, and if you have your rotations correctly, consistently so. That just has not been the case here for North Dakota, and heading into game number 3, that has to change. They need to find more time on the USC side of the pitch. If that's not the case, I feel they're put under too much pressure. Again, USC is going to be able to pounce on that, and maybe a real Trojan horse will be brought forward because, North Dakota, their issues have really arisen when they're stuck in their own side.
I think that another issue might be that the University of Southern California has their offensive dog. That is Rebel. That like they've gotten almost double-digit shot attempts some of these games and multiple scores per game thus far. 2 in the first one, 2 in the second.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
Rebel's first right here after an insane angle off the left side post. And just to finish the point, the University of Southern Dakota, North Dakota, excuse me, my goodness, a lot of South and North in this. Has Buddy Bowler in like their offensive, but they don't necessarily have like that defensive player, and I think that's the result of a lot of these 2 scorelines.
You know, I do find it a little ironic. VTR getting the assist there. Somebody in Twitch chat about 4 seconds before that goal was scored said, Rebel VTR link too strong. And you just casually see a pass from VTR into Rebel and a very well-placed shot to make sure that USC pick up the opening goal. USC are 3-0 in opening goals thus far in the series. The first one, of course, being an own goal. The next two, of course, being on North Dakota's goal. Nonetheless, consistency, their friend, and change, as I mentioned, not fun. They don't like it either, apparently.
And I mean, Southern California hasn't played from behind yet. They're not going to get tested with that one until Buddy Bowler now ties it back up. A fantastic read and a fantastic position right here after Turtle Sir, I think, puts it in a place that Rebel wasn't anticipating. I think Rebel was trying to get on the left side of this, and they could have hit it towards like mid-pitch instead of, you know, putting it perfectly in front of their goal.
Yeah, and unfortunately VTR really not in a good position to deal with that. They tried to go too far forward instead of playing a little bit more defensive. That's a situation where you do have to play reactively if you're USC, and they just don't make that adjustment, at least not for those 4 seconds. Unfortunate goal that they do indeed give away, and I feel that North Dakota earned that one. They forced USC into a mistake and really were able to bounce off of that and turn it into a goal-scoring opportunity and inevitably a goal. Well defended on the back line now from North Dakota as they transition from the offense of their goal into the defense of preventing one, and they're successful in doing so. It's a good showing from North Dakota here in the 3rd game of play.
I mean, this is the backs against the wall type situation, like what we've seen so far, but Goran Rebel just doing Rebel things.
I think this is par for the course at this point. VTR, again, a pass. Rebel could have sent that to the back of the net, decided, oh, I'm going to kind of musty, but not really because it didn't look as cool. Nonetheless, a goal for USC. A 1-goal deficit, again, that North Dakota has to face. And the Trojans looking like they're going to run away with the series. Again, a goal advantage. Of course, it can be turned away with just a blink of an eye and, of course, a goal scored for North Dakota. But they actually have to get on the offensive side. They just have not done that consistently enough. Buddy Boulder does send that to the side, and Turtle Sir with the assistance. But, again, a centering pass, and Southern California, again, putting pressure on North Dakota.
Zune Gamer trying to beat some feet to flip to that one. That'd have been another fantastic University of North Dakota read to kind of get this one out from an otherwise defensible position. But 15 seconds outside of halftime, a little bit of a run right here. Buddy Bowler on Rebel. This is the matchup we were looking for, as Rebel gets a solid hit, the second player up. That might actually be on point, and Zune Gamer has to play it. VTR trying to tweak that angle on the top left. And Zune Gamer with an easy hit out to the left side. Rebel should be able to pick this one up. Gets it past the first, gets it past the second. That's centered up, but no University of Southern California player on the other side to pick it up. Another solid hit.
Now they are. Shot forward. Oh, second attempt not there. They do have a follow-up, but it just is not in time. Rebels now cut away. Buddy Bowler has an empty net because USC's rotation is just a little bit too far forward, but with a lack of boost, and now a returned attack. An empty net now remains on the North Dakota side. A shot forward, but he misses! Wordy's able to follow up, but oh my goodness, USC gonna give me heart palpitations.
Wow, 140 kilometers per hour for a ball that was maybe going 10 kilometers per hour right before then. This one was a defensible ball from North Dakota. This was not, not an own goal, not the same stuff that we'd be counting as of earlier. Classic 2-minute drill. You are down by 2. You have 2 minutes left. What do you do? Backs against the wall at University of North Dakota. We will see. And that, unfortunately, is a double up on the offense that proves too much for our UND defender. I believe that is Zune. Yes, that is Zune Gamer on the other side.
Yeah, and it's VTR to Rebel again. Name a more poetic combination for USC. The 2-minute drill is now turned into the minute 53-second field goal attempt for North Dakota. They need 3 goals in very little time. Wordy will prevent a first, at least as an opener. VTR a kick of their own, and it's centered now for Rebel, who wants to aggress, possibly looking for a 50. Will find the touchdown and under the Zune Gamer 50. Nonetheless, it's USC bleeding the clock, and North Dakota can't afford it. What a musty, though. What a save from Rebel.
Yeah, here's the other thing. Just kind of like we've seen in previous Rocket League competitions, there are best of 5, best of 7, whatever. The last game is always going to be like this. The team that is down, if they're facing against the sweep, we'll watch a UND, a defense completely dissolve and just pour everything into offense because, again, loss of 6, loss of 4, loss of 1, doesn't matter. A loss is a loss, especially when you're down 2 in the series. 70 seconds to go, 3-score deficit, again, possible. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. I'm just going to say, again, a Herculean effort. Everything in a bag of chips will have to go right for UND in the next 60 for them to tie this one up.
And USC, I think, feel they just don't need to make any mistakes, and they win this. It's really been UND building off of USC's mistakes and in their own poetic way in order to score some of these goals. That could have been a mistake and could have been a goal for UND. Unfortunately, just is not. Rebel forward does get it past a second. Turtles are, however, there for the defensive redundancy and will turn it around. Buddy Bowler, a little bit of a whiff on that defensive side, not fully able to clear the zone, but the zone is indeed. 30 seconds now remain for UND to bring it back, and 3 goals a requisite here for the team from North Dakota.
Yeah, and this is the first time this ball's even seen this side. Probably going to have to go ahead and call this one TTL. 15 seconds to go. Not going to get that. University of Southern California has just been playing against that sand in the hourglass thus far. And now time will be on their side. Maybe 1 to go? No?
Whoa.
Maybe 1 to go? Okay, so 1 to go. So, okay, let's theorycraft. The University of North Dakota gets a pinch kickoff goal. They get one. It only takes 1 second because the timer doesn't start until you touch the ball, and they pinch it all the way in for a 200-kilometer-per-hour goal, and then they have 1 second, keep it aloft, and push it to overtime. What do you think?
I mean, you said time's on their side. I am not a biased caster. However, the clock may be. Ball forward, however, they will allow it to be put forward, and there was no pinch. Unfortunately, they didn't have both players on either side of the ball, and USC will make it a 3-0 series victory. Another clean win for them. Not too much of a difficulty for USC. They did what they needed. They came in, they put in fundamental Rocket League, a single mistake really in an own goal, and maybe another in terms of giving the ball away, but 2 mistakes total in 3 games up against a fairly good opponent in North Dakota. I say a good day's work for USC.
Oh, that's entirely fair. I think a lot of this is just the kind of like pace of play that is set off, kind of like you were saying. I think it was 6 seconds in, right? It was 10 seconds in the own goal there for the University of North Dakota. It's just hard to kind of get past that mental. First game on broadcast, everything else, beginning of the season, new opponent in the form of University of Southern California, again, that is new here to the EGF. It might have been all these factors. Perhaps, again, we're just theory crafting a little bit. Clean 3-0 sweep for the University of Southern California. We'll be looking at Southern Utah and Washington State next. I do believe we have enough time, so I think we're going to try and get a little interview action coming in for you guys, hopefully. A little interview action, little post-match interview time to light.
We're getting a note from USC. We will look to get an interview. Whether a webcam is available for the team is to be determined, but an interview is a certainty when we come back from the break.
your smile. Now the sunshine brings the light. Fill me out with a flame. I will let you in this game. Take me out when I'm down. 'Cause with you I'm safe and sound. 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 I'm safe and
Hello and welcome back. We are fresh off the back of a hot University of Southern California win over University of North Dakota, FBI tugboat, and my man Time to Light here. And we got Wordy on the call. Wordy, you with us?
Yes, hello guys. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Congratulations on your victory. It was 1-4 game 1, 1-5 game 2. Game 3 a little bit closer at a 4-2 scoreline. Thank you for coming on and giving us some of your time. And Time to Light, take it away.
Well, opening things up, you really came out of the gate clean, albeit an own goal to open up game number 1, but an immediate take back to really clean house. How do you feel about that own goal, and how did you really turn the mental of the team back in that first game?
I feel like the mental was not really a challenge because own goaling is like trademark USC esports. You know, we just like to put our own foot in our mouth. We like to start off with a 1-2 goal deficit. It kind of challenges us, you know. So, no, in reality,
Yeah,
like
right
it's
where
pretty,
you want them.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to bounce back from. It's not, you got to have a short-term memory in Rocket League.
Okay, and moving into the rest of the series, you guys really continue with that streak of dominance. It didn't seem all that challenging of a series for you. You kept up the consistency, the fundamentals were there, and mainly the defensive and offensive redundancy, having a second or even a third player. I saw even one time a fourth player, even with only 3 on the board, because of how quick your rotations were. Talk me through your rotations, maybe even communications as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, definitely no lack of respect for the other team. They were pretty solid. I think maybe just have less experience together. I don't know. All I can really speak for is that we're taking it really seriously this semester, like trying to get practices in. We brought Rebel onto the team, and he's obviously mechanically and in terms of game sense, like pretty gifted. He has a very decent understanding of the game. He's been helping us like really clean that up. And I mean, in general, all of us are just kind of like grinding more together. So yeah, I guess like it's just coming together a little bit more easily without having to put too much thought into it.
And my final question before I swing it back to Tugboat is, how is the team cohesion working? Because it seems like VTR and Rebel are really up there on the attacking side. You're much better on the defense, as from what I saw, you're better at giving them the ball so they can work together, but you're even filling in sometimes those give and go plays, the passing plays most importantly on the attacking side, and being that third man to really pick up where they left off.
Yeah, I think it really depends. Like, there's about 5 of us that really play more consistently in terms of the starting roster, and we just have given ourselves an opportunity to get that cohesion, like, regarding which 3 are in the match. I think Rebel and Vitter just specifically have, like, a lot of mechanical ability when it comes to shooting and, like, taking advantage of that heightened pressure. I do myself feel like I'm a little bit more, like, assist focused and just trying to, like, focus on my own, I guess, pacing, and so maybe that's why like that inner personality just comes out. And in terms of like us as a 3 today, like I kind of saw that they were running away with it. Like from warming up a little bit before the match, like we were solid, we were clean. I knew that we can keep our game simple and it wasn't going to be too much of a challenge. I think everybody has like a decent understanding of that, regardless of who we're up against and which of us are playing.
Hey, the personal awareness was good. I loved it. Very well done.
Yeah, thank you.
I love it. I love it. Kind of like knowing the role on the day, right? In any given day of Rocket League, playing any team, individuals can come forward and kind of shine like a little bit. You said you were able to do that with You said it was Vitter, not VTR.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get super like technical about it because I know he doesn't really trip, but I think Vitter is like fine, perfectly fine.
Yeah, no, we'll keep that in mind. We'll keep that.
Yeah,
in mind.
no worries. Thank you.
We only got the 3 letters to go off of, but yes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask. Of the whole team, you were kind of talking about like the mental reset and having like that memory of a goldfish, to quote Ted Lasso, right?
Yeah.
Bad experiences or things like that, the own goal type situation, kind of in the past. Are there, like, you talked about it specifically within the own goal type situation? What is another example of that within the great game of Rocket League that you have used to kind of come back within a match?
I think it just comes down to not getting down on yourself. Like we all know, Rocket League is really quick paced, and the less you think about things, and the more like, the more intuitive you allow your decisions to be, I guess you have a more fun time. So personally, like we have found ourselves at a decent deficit early on in games, or even like we'll go down at the very like beginning, the genesis of this team. We would like enter in competitions with people that are way above our league, so we would constantly be looking at like a 1 or 2 game deficit within a 3 or 5 match series. And I think that just puts a lot of character into the players and the program. Like, okay, we have experience, we know what it's like to like get our butts handed to us, and yet there's a way to like progress. Like now we are sweeping teams, and we are like we've seen the growth. So keeping that in mind and knowing that there's like actual progress that the team is making, it just makes it really easy. Like I don't even think we had to really think about it. It's just keep a positive mental attitude, and the rest just kind of flows.
That PMA, that positive mental attitude. I like it.
Yes, sir.
Like it. Just kind of moving past little things like that. And like, what would the meme be? Like, empty head, no thought, just Rocket League, just play. Just
always.
Just go forth and reaction times and everything else like that. I love it. I want to switch focus a little bit to specifically University of Southern California here. I want to ask, were you guys playing at an esports arena, center, lounge? what is USC got you in?
No, right now, I mean, we are currently playing from our own residences. Like we have a different combination in terms of guys that commute and also live on campus, around campus. We do have a little bit of like we have an esports center, and I think we are getting a little bit more coordinated about utilizing that space and taking advantage of it. And I know that in doing so, we could also get USC to take USC esports like more seriously, and hopefully like I think we are paving like a little bit of a path there. But we're pretty early, like on in terms of Rocket League. I won't speak on the other esports we have, but we started off like 3 guys, including myself, a few years back, just getting into games together because we found each other online. So we've come a long way. We have a space, and we plan on using it a little bit more. We definitely like have some fun things planned, even on campus, like throughout the rest of the semester.
I got you. So just the follow-up right there, the follow-up question to that is, how do you think the pace of play, your cohesion, and especially your communications are going to change once the shift is mostly to like in-person competitions, is playing at the allotted space there, and not necessarily from the houses, not necessarily.
I think it could only have a positive effect. I mean, in reality, like having your boys around you and just being able to kind of vibe together, like it's easy. We have played together in person, like I kind of alluded to, like we've had some on-campus events in the past. We've invited like other schools to come play us for like some Latin stuff. So we have experience with that. I know that it helps the cohesion. It helps like really just have good vibes. And I think like the more we've been able to interact with each other since like the pandemic started like winding down a little bit, we regained some normalcy. I think it's only been positive. It's been up from there.
There
You
go.
gotta have those fist bumps on LAN.
Exactly.
Always.
Exactly. Wordy, yeah, I really appreciate you coming on in and kind of giving us a look inside the mind of the player post-match, and post-sweep, I should say. Post-3-0 sweep. Congratulations to you. Last question here, Wordy, I want to ask before we get you on out of here. Do you have any shout-outs, any people that you want to thank for this competition or at the University of Southern California?
Oh, lots of shout outs, probably more than I can actually give, but I definitely want to shout out EGF and you guys. Tug, I'm pretty familiar with your cast. I think TTO, I've actually seen you cast before too. You guys are always awesome and we appreciate you guys. I appreciate our manager, Catherine Fire, and also our pseudo coach, I guess, or no, in reality, he really is our coach, Joe Jacko. He's totally helped us like paint, like I said, that path towards more legitimacy and organization as a group. So just shout out to everybody in the team, all our supporters, and we're going to keep getting these dubs. That's it.
There you go. Hey, that's what's important. That's what's important. Wordy, once again, thank you for coming on in and give us a minute of your time after the game. We are going to be looking at this point, yes, the Southern Utah and Washington State teams going at it for the last matchup here on BStream Time to Light. Anything else before we go to a very short break and get this match set up?
Nope, we have another great game ahead of us. The West Coast teams building up things late at night here on the eastern side. I know, well, us being me because you're over on the west, but nonetheless, a break before our final series. We'll see you after that.
Get to me, say what you wanna say, go take it all away, but I'm here to stay. No, you can't get to me, and there is no barricade that I can tear away. Shoot me down, but fire away, but I'm a heavyweight. I'm a heavyweight. I'm a heavyweight. I'm a heavyweight.
back. We are here. We are live for the last EGFC match of the night. We got Southern Utah taking on Washington State University. FBI Tugboat and my man Time to Light on the call.
And we're back and underway with more West Coast games. Both of these teams coming into this with a almost required win. Week 2, such a contentious week. You've already gotten your feelers out after week 1, rubbed off the dust, and gotten enough of those scrims in. This is really where the rubber meets the road, especially later on in the night.
Yeah, especially West Coast over here. It's only about 6:30, 6:40 or so. No reason to wait this one out, though. Southern Utah on the left in the blue, Washington State on the right in the red. Fitz with the ball right now, doing some wonkiness across the middle, some fancy footwork early here. Time to Light.
Adding a little bit of a flair over top of their early engagement. Silence up and over. Ball down by D-Town. Hawkin across, looking for a centering pass. Will find it as well, but D-Town a little bit too far forward. Should give Washington State the opportunity to clear the zone, and they do indeed. Now looking for an offensive opportunity of their own, but again, a little bit too far forward in the attacking side there. Also, I see a Mantis. I never see Mantises in competitive play. What is going on here?
Higher level Rocket League indeed, but some unusual picks when it comes to that hardware, right? That card that they're actually using. Hawkin off this left side, right side post, excuse me, Fitz back down the middle. D-Town tries to win that 50, only succeeds in accelerating this ball farther off to the left side, and now that's Southern Utah on the defense.
You know, I was talking about both of these teams needing a victory here. The main reasons, both of them opened up this weekend in week 0-1. A shot from Fitz, up and over, down and through, off the corner, through the back wall, adding a little bit of style on their own shot.
Grandmother's house we go, right?
Yeah, and the other point, I was talking about both of these teams going 0-1. It was North Dakota getting the forfeit victory over Southern Utah, so a little bit of shooting yourself in the foot on that first week of play, whereas Washington State lost 1-3 to the University of Hawaii. Out in the Pacific, dominance, and dominance back for Southern Utah as it's one apiece.
Mostly done. Tied up situation happening at 1 minute and 13 seconds into this. Nice, smooth, almost even 100 kilometers per hour. You got 98 on that one. Fastest one in this matchup thus far. We'll continue to monitor that for you guys because useless stats are fun. Useless stats are fun. Windex. Oh, wow. Fitz barely gets a hand onto this one and blocks it away and then turns that into an awesome offense. Silence doing what they can across the mid-pitch to try and maintain possession of this one. Not going to happen so easily. Nice shot up and over. Silence just barely gets that after a perfect read on the other side.
Good recovery there from Silence. Fitz now trying to take it back. Ball up the wall will be contested and will be pinched away as Southern Utah will clear their own zone and allow themselves to turn what was a very staunch defense into a clean attacking side. D-Town is centering pass of their own. Up is Hawkin. Unfortunately, the shot not so much, but Southern Utah are still here on the attack.
D-Town, right side. Speaking of attack, hit over, and that's actually pretty perfectly positioned right to the left side, just kind of pipped in right there, and now Hawkin can't get in the defense. Fitz puts this one up. Third shot attempted, second goal in already. Both of Washington State University's goals so far, and 116, our new fastest goal of this game.
Yeah, and Fitz, that's such a smart goal as well. They were coming across the ball, but still sent it straight on. So Hawkin would have gotten back if they didn't touch it, and would have gotten back to the new position should they have hit it in the direction their car was facing. But a little bit of misdirection there. Apparently magic now appearing in the game of Rocket League. Thy name is Fitz, and thy goal is Washington State's. The lead right back in their favor.
Nice position again, and Silence is going to bring this one back for Southern Utah yet again. Fitz doing everything that they can right here to try and put Washington State University ahead. And Windex even had a little bit of a look at this one.
Yeah, and Fitz was actually stuck on the wall there. That's why they got dropped down to the floor without really contesting. You ever hit the post and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that because these game mechanics suck. That's what happened there, unfortunately, for Fitz on the defense, and now they've lost their lead just about 8 seconds after they found it.
Just kind of kills the momentum, both with the physically with the side post and also with Washington State, the momentum they had accrued. Nice hit over. What was that angle? I have to check the post after that one, see if it's inflated.
Well, I mean, this is America. Lots of things have been inflated lately.
There you go. There you go. Is that a finance joke? My
That's a
goodness.
finance joke.
My goodness.
Really
You don't see
pocketed
many of
that
those
one.
people. You don't see many of those.
Finance is a joke. What? I said that out loud. Oh, I'm in the business school too. I'm not allowed to do that. Nonetheless, we move on. Southern Utah with aggression on the attacking side do get 50'd away. Windex there for that one. Silence straight down, but it should be cleared out and is indeed. Fitz putting that one forward. Hawken late to that one. D-Town luckily there for the pickup, but a demo in the backline should interrupt Southern Utah's rotations. If Silence was able to get it past Tudo, they may have found a goal there, unfortunately unable to do so, and now Washington State will turn it back forward.
D-Town lurking right there and finds value from it, kind of hanging out mid-pitch and waiting for this one to come out, and possessions do get lost from his teammates. Fitz with another demo right here. Tell me if you sense a theme, Time to Light. I think this Washington State getting physical late.
Let's get physical.
There you go. That's an old one right there. That's an old one.
Oh yeah, and a new one is Southern Utah leading. This is the first time they've been in the lead in the EGFC Season 4 because they didn't play last week. So congratulations, Southern Utah, new feat.
Okay, it's a fair stat. 65
There's your useless
seconds.
stats.
Yeah, right. Yeah, very, very useless stats, people. First 4 minutes we've seen of Southern Utah so far, and it has not disappointed. Washington State still got plenty of time to bring this one back. This is by no means done and dusted, and now another open net type situation. Both teams just opting for all offense all the time.
And Windex forward taking again Washington's tie now as they were playing catch up for a few minutes or a few seconds in this case, 12 total to be exact. Southern Utah now looking for another goal to pick up the trade back in their favor. It's really just been a trade of goals, nobody really with a convincing lead. It was Washington State with the opening goal, but that was met quickly thereafter, and that was a consistent story for the rest of this game up until our current point. 40 seconds left, well passed across. Unfortunately, Hawken just a little slow, ran out of boost. That was their issue. That's Southern Utah's problem now. 30 seconds, and Washington State were looking to rest. Now Silent has the ball.
Silence looking loud right there. Barely hits the top bar. Out come flying
Ah.
in. Hawken. What, the Paragon Falcon is the fastest bird of prey. And I think that might have topped it a little bit.
Yeah, straight down and back up towards the top, taking Southern Utah's lead right back. Washington State again playing catch-up. If previous iterations of these ties have told us anything, it should be Washington State tying with 10 seconds left. But as Southern Utah reaggress forward, now just 12 total, it's Southern Utah to establish even more of a lead, and almost certainly the game in and of itself. 13 seconds remain, and 2 goals need to be found for Washington State.
So what? 3 minutes ago, this was looking like it might be a pretty low-scoring game. We have 8 potential more here, especially if Washington State gives up another one in their 10-second dash to try and get 2. Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
No, it looks to be it. That will indeed be it. Mathematical impossibility now for Washington State. Southern Utah, even though they dropped the opening goal, then go down again 2-1. They were able to pick up the 2-2 scoreline, pick up the lead past that, and then fully establish their advantage later on in the game. It was the late game playing in favor of Southern Utah as they will take the first game of play. I'm a little surprised by that, honestly, especially considering Washington State looked relatively dominant earlier on in the game. Even without a fully, completely established lead, the dominance was still relatively there in terms of their overall map control.
Yeah, that's entirely fair, especially earlier on, like boost management and whatnot, and just really picking up that resource consistently led to a little bit of advantage early, but then you come in a 13-6 attempted shots. There's Southern Utah, Washington State. Southern Utah basically lead on that one, 13.
Hey, looking for shots. I think that's been the consistent theme of the day. The more shots you get, the more likely you are to score, and the team that's been taking more offensive opportunities has been on the front foot in a consistent fashion. Nobody's fully back here. Silence could take some aggression. They do indeed. Tudo centering ball, and Hawken finds the goal. Washington State, a little bit of an uncharacteristic misstep early in this game. Tudo, an unfortunate touch, and Hawken there to command their
I
goal.
almost wish we could get like a second look at like another replay so we can kind of see what exactly happened, because I think what happened with Tudo is he just jumped straight up, or they just jumped straight up. Like there was no angle on that whatsoever, and so it just kind of continued where it was going before then, you know what I'm saying? Again, defense here for Washington State. little bit lackluster earlier game. And that was just the single mistake, but it's going to result in a point. So back on offense. Here's the Southern Utah squad. Hit over left side. Perfect bounce across the middle. And once again, it is the Southern Utah squad striking right to the gut of Washington State.
You gotta feel a little bit bad for Washington State here, though. Watch this. A pinch is actually the reason they scored that. Across the midfield, Windex came. Silence would have missed that, funnily enough. Unfortunately, at least for Washington State, that is not the case. Southern Utah continue with their lead and now find 2 back-to-back. I'm a little surprised they're this early on showing their dominance from the later game of our first.
I guess I'm not super, like Washington State, or sorry, Southern Utah is a newer team within the EGFC. It's just like, so I only have so much to go off of, right? I've obviously seen them in other collegiate leagues, but it's kind of like, again, Rocket League play on the day. Any given, I guess, Wednesday, not any given Sunday, this is the NFL, any given Wednesday here for the EGF, right? Any team can perform in any which way. So, Washington State, I'll say I'll be surprised if they put up nothing here, but again, Windex now, Fitz earlier, that was Tuto that's gotten a couple demos themselves. If this doesn't work, what you're playing, if Washington State, this game plan doesn't work, just push it to demos, push it to physical play. We've already seen games get won, I mean literally on the day, off the back of that, because if they continue on with this, Southern Utah is just going to continue to do this right here, which is beating them aerially, and acrobatics or not, D-Town, you know, Silence technically got that in, D-Town, you know, gave a little bit extra right there, right, but not necessary. I think Southern Utah has just realized they can take to the skies, and they'll always get this in.
Well, up in the air, you can see Washington State in a little bit of a chaotic scenario as it stands. Southern Utah need to be able to continue with this, though. If you fall back just a little bit like Washington State did in their first game, you can see how quickly the tides can turn. And as Steve Carell once said, oh, how the turntables, in the game of Rocket League, that can indeed be the case.
I didn't know Steve Carell played Rocket League. It's pretty cool.
Every so often, I think.
Pretty cool.
That's what they were doing
grade
in the
was Steve
office.
Carell
I don't know, Rage 4.
there it is. You know, they did play Call of Duty, actually. You know, obviously a much different look. And that was a much older Call of Duty. But getting back into the great game of Rocket League is Fitz on a run. Tries to deliver it down bottom. Needed a little bit extra postage for a long run like that.
You cannot stamp that one through. D-Town across. It's Southern Utah continually with this aggression, though. That'll go off the ceiling, the back wall as well, but Fitz is there on the aforementioned back wall to find the stop. Silence there as the third man back will find the ball back, and it's a game of ping pong as the team's apparently trading long shots across the pitch.
D-Town diving across this one just so Fitz doesn't get a look at it, kind of playing keep away with his teammate right here. Kind of makes sense, but the only hit that Fitz had would have been a center-turning shot. And just like that, Windex and the rest of the Washington State University squad looking at it offense, triple up defense right here, open net after D-Town. That's a nice first shot here for Fitz. We get rewarded with the G2 goal right here. But I mean, literally, look, like that was literally Hawking just like taking his teammate and throwing him over to mid-pitch. Again, I wish we got another replay on that.
that was actually really funny. But Southern Utah now, with a little bit of the advantage lost, still a 2-goal lead though, so the lead actually has some help on the back line. Hawkin looking for a double tap, does find the second touch, just not into the back of the net. D-Town still here in the corner, will be surpassed by the ball and by Fitz. Down to 20 boost now as Fitz continues with the ball forward. Unfortunately, ran out of boost and the possibility of a shot on goal. D-Town, a little bit of a backflip, will be able to find the ball forward, but Windex there for the assist to send the ball back. And no team with any real commanding advantage. Well saved at the back line there for Windex, though. A minute crested, and Washington State still with 2 goals to 5.
Nicely done. Hawkin flying in from the left side, gets the claws in the first one, not going to find the second. Silence again, making some noise right here. Little tap action against the backside. We talked about playing ping pong earlier. That's about as good as it gets. There's the salt pass right there, and then perfectly centered time to light.
Silence has an unfair advantage of playing ping pong with the other side of the table folded upwards so they can play against themselves, using it as the backboard. I actually used to do that, by the way, because, like...
There you go, like Forrest Gump, yes.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Appreciate it,
Tuto,
Will.
a weak hit again. I don't want to say this is characteristic of Tuto, but on defense, I just don't see Tuto doing a whole lot when the ball comes near them, unfortunately.
And the issue there consistently for Tuto, I feel, is that they're not getting themselves in a good position before they hit the ball. They're really just focusing on hitting the ball rather than doing so in a proper manner. And again, a pass across. It's Hawken with the pass this time around. Fits up and over. Silence gets the demo, but not the ball. It's on net, but, well, Hawken's all the way back. Now sent the other side of the pitch. Silence straight down, and with Silence is me, but fortunately or unfortunately for Washington State, depending on which side of the pitch you're on, the goal is not found. Nonetheless, a game one here, and mathematical impossibility once more. 4-1 the scoreline, maybe even more, depending on how long nor where this ball goes with 0 seconds left. Now, it is 4-1. Southern Utah make it 2-0 in the series.
Yeah, so Southern Utah is able to take a lead early and then kind of hold strong onto it. Once again, don't want to sound like the broken record here, people. 13 total shots for this Southern Utah squad.
Wow.
Versus 5, I think I saw. 5. We only got that flash for a second. I tried to do quick math. Sorry, people. Washington State only coming up with like 5 or something like that. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. You just can't really come over stuff like that. Yes, thank you. 4 shots, even worse than I thought. My goodness. I mean, 13-5 is brutal. 13-4, even worse. You're getting tripled up on when it comes to when it comes to that. I'm honestly surprised that this isn't like more of a scoreline, especially after a game 1 where Southern Utah was able to do the same exact thing when it comes to time of possession and just keeping hold of this ball.
Well, they just over-tripled them in terms of shots, and in all fairness, they also just over-tripled them by just a single margin in both scenarios in terms of goals as well. So triple plus 1 in both scenes, I suppose that statistically tracks. Nonetheless,
Some kind of
a
algebra.
clean victory for Southern Utah. Now Silence going off the ceiling, has an infinite amount of that flip available. Tried to go to the floor and then reset it down below. Unfortunately, was unable to do so, and Southern Utah do get cut away in that first attempt. Redirect attempted by Windex. Silence was ready for it. As you can see, the cherry picking there by the Mantis, unsuccessful.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really, really solid shot and didn't really have to invest most of anything to it. Ball had the acceleration and speed that they needed. Didn't really need to burn a whole lot of boost to get their fits with a perfect defensive stop. Not perfect, actually. Excuse me. That centered this one up yet again. Back down to it. Fitz hits the ground and takes right back on up. A freaking flyer indeed. Time to light.
And D-Town across, now in a good position to get past 2, does indeed. Windex the last one back. It's Silence now on the aforementioned back line, trying to push it even farther forward. A bump, however, will push them out of position and give Washington State a way back. Ball off the back wall, re-centers now for Southern Utah. I was about to say Shenandoah, that's where I go, not where these people go.
Shannon, is that SUU as well?
No, it's just SU.
Oh, well, that's close. Silence right here. Just a little bit too high. It gets taken out by our corner bar right here. There's Windex coming into this one. Only a little bit of boost to be spoken of. Silence looking for a slow play out. Gets 50 by Fitz and sends this one over to the right side to the left side. Back to mid-pitch. Windex with a huge hit right here. Fitz trying to stop. Actually burns boost and flips to get to it. And now that's a good rotation here. Looking fine, but gets barely a front hit on this, puts it basically back in the same exact position. No advantage, Washington State.
No, and now Hawken back. That's centered. That could be put in. It will indeed. Hawken just lightly settling it straight into the back of the net. Well timed on the settle straight down. 50 with Fitz, and then just move right in front of it. Allow the backside of your car to just ever so slightly get the knock into the back of that. And Southern Utah, again, will find the opener.
I mean, yeah, that was kind of dangerous, though. That was a Southern Utah teammate right there. What if they kind of went more of the musty on it, more of like, they gotten the hood up under that, given their angle, that would actually blocked it away. Whereas player down bottom just literally realized that was Hawken, just literally realized like, hey, sit, standard. Was that Jaws and CP? Am I losing it?
No, that's his desktop background, and because it's a screen share, every so often
okay,
desktop pops up. So yes, it is.
I was like, hang on, okay, so which one am I? Am I Jaws? Am I ZP? Like, what's going on?
I don't know which one I'd be, so you get to pick one.
No,
you're fine, Will. We promise you're okay. Will, by the way, our producer, super cool person, locking things down on the back side of the broadcast, always the back end you can't see, that always brings in the most support. Speaking of support, Hawken has it, not only in terms of a goal in this game, but now an assist, a flip reset assist, no less. D-Town adds a little bit of an emphasis, an exclamation point on that, makes it a goal again for Southern Utah as we just crest halftime, 2-0 the score.
Exclamation indeed. Washington State ain't gonna like the sentence. D-Town, the rest of Southern Utah back on into the middle right here, centered up. This is too far time-wise for Southern Utah to, like, try and go for like a time waste type situation, but the way they're leaving Hawken all the way back, like this isn't even like open net situation. This is just like super hard defense type. I think Southern Utah, I really hope they're not counting these chickens before they act. I hope they're not counting this loss before the clock strikes 0. They're counting this.
Yeah, and that's when you get overconfident. I said this earlier when I was talking with Soy. There's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. Arrogance is when it starts to cost you games. And I don't think we've seen that thus far from SU, but or SUU. But the real conversation is, when can that be a possibility? Unfortunately, not just yet for Washington State. I think that was a bump out of the back line from D-Town. Yeah, it was indeed, sending them to the Shadow Realm. Windex, unfortunately, side flipping it into the back of the net. 3-0 now for Southern Utah.
We were talking about counting chickens and whatnot. I think that was Washington State really looking at the offensive prowess first, like really trying to get to that one, like trying to cheat up a little bit. Windex, a little bit slower, a little bit farther back, better angle, would have been able to block this one away and be looking at a much more manageable, like 2-0 at pretty much the same timeline, at about 90 seconds or so.
Here's where Washington State really need to start to score. Ball off the back wall, off the back of a pinch and demo combination from D-Town. Silence, however, collecting, looking for a flick, will find it, but it is 50 by Windexus. That aggression for Washington State finally here, but it seems to be just too little too late. Well-placed pass. Tudo unfortunately backflips. Windexus in midair will send themselves away as well, and with an almost empty net. I was about to say I didn't see Fitz, but I didn't. Another shot there, but
nice.
Windexus there is a second line of defense. Washington State, the defense is there, however, it needs to turn into offense. It just has not thus far.
Yeah, really just like right now. This was Windex that really needed to wipe away this ball towards mid-pitch earlier and get this offense going. That's decently on point. Hawken gets there before Offender does. Wins that 50 and now probably just purchased this game and thereby the match for the side of Southern Utah. Or like, I shouldn't say purchase. They have already earned it, I should say. But really closed out any kind of chance at a comeback for Washington State, especially given that 15 seconds have been burned off while Southern Utah is back on the offense.
Yeah, and Washington State may get a consolation goal here with Fitz, a 50, not a goal by any means. Hawken will actually also clear things out of the back line. If anything, it's going to be Southern Utah walking away with another goal. It is saved on the back line, well timed by Windex to get up, but Fitz will send it to the ground. Almost certainly so, and they will indeed. Southern Utah make it a 3-0 series, and a clean one at that. No real difficulties other than maybe in Game 1, and even then, it looked relatively clean and clear from them in the later stages of that first map.
Yeah, and also, end of the day, I think the brutal look to this really is the fact that usually when a team comes in and they lose a first game, they like actively get better. This was just Southern Utah just applying the pressure all day long. 2-score victory and a 5-3 win in Game 1, a 4-1 victory in Game number 2, and then a 3-0 rout for Southern Utah in Game 3 right there. The goose egg, big fat 0, unfortunately put up there for the Washington State University squad.
Yeah, and unfortunately they fall again here. It is Southern Utah to walk away with their first victory of this season. They are now 1-1 after their unfortunate forfeit loss back in week number 1. Washington State fall to 0-2, but we have an interview prepped for you. It'll be silent coming into the booth when we come back from a short break, our final segment, and a last interview of our second week of play.
I like it when it's quiet.
You like it when it's quiet?
I find it too noisy to patient.
And we're back here. Little post-match interview action coming at you. FBI Tugboat here with my man Time to Light. We're coming hot off the back of a Washington State loss right here. Southern Utah coming in and taking it in 3. That was a 5-3 victory in game number 1, a 4-1 victory in game number 2, and a 3-0 clean sweep to close out this match in game number 3. Now, they say that silence is golden. We got the man himself on here with the call. Silent, you with us?
Yes, sir.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Time to Light. Take it away.
Well, to open things up, I gotta say I'm a little disappointed because you guys scored 5, 4, and 3 goals in games 1, 2, and 3, really falling off in terms of the goal scoring. What's going on there? You gotta start picking things up.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, a serious first question, because that's entirely joking. How are you able to really come back in game number 1? Because you had a deficit early, twice over. You were down 1-0 and then 2-1, but immediately after that, you really only brought in ties and leads and really ran away with it later on in the game.
For us, D-Town and I, we've played together for a couple of years now at this point, and our third is fairly new. We've gone through our thirds quite a bit, just with people graduating and etc. So, his and mine mindset with games like that, we really try to lock it in and just try to shake off what we can and just keep playing as best to our ability.
Well, you seemed consistent there, and then into game number 2, you found the opening goal. You didn't even face a deficit for the rest of the series. Talk me through playing with that advantage. Is it more comfortable, less comfortable because you always have to worry about losing that lead? What's the thought process? Because I'm bad at Rocket League, so I'm usually playing with a deficit.
Quite honestly, kudos to our opponent. They definitely kept us on our toes with demos and touches. So we weren't really too comfortable. And again, this is our first game with our third outside of practice, so it's definitely a lot of nerves shaking off, and besides that, just trying to get as comfortable as we can in that situation is our main goal. Granted, we might not be 100% comfortable, but getting there.
Yeah, and talking about the play style overall of Washington State, it was a little bit more uncharacteristic compared to what you usually see, but it seemed to throw you off just a little bit, especially earlier on in game number 1. A little bit more aggressive, a little bit more chaotic, and especially it was physical, getting demos and bumps, as you mentioned. The question there is, how do you remedy that? Do you take a second and step back, especially after losing that second goal, and really try to adjust your play style?
A lot of the time, it comes down to communication between teammates and stuff like that. When we go down into a deficit, we have to really take a second, watch the replay, see where we're at, and see what's kind of going on, and realizing their strategy in that regard to their rotations, their speed, and all of that. We can make quick adjustments between each other to kind of adjust our play style and our rotations to counter that more effectively.
I love that, making quick 11-second in-game analytical changes in the game of Rocket League, no less. Not something you always see, but always a welcome surprise, to say the very least. Final question for you, a little bit more of a joking one. What's it like to play against a Mantis? I haven't done that since, like, Season 7 of, like, the first iteration of Rocket League.
Quite honestly, half the time I couldn't even see him. He was so flat to the ground. So he would just come out of nowhere and just bump either one of us or the other. So it, definitely different. I haven't seen one in years as well. So it was kind of fun.
A little bit of a different look aesthetically and whatnot, right? Love it. So question here, I've been asking, the kind of the theme of the night so far is asking students about like their respective college or universities, esports center and whatnot. So just open-ended right here. Silent, what does the Southern Utah University have you guys in? Are you guys playing from home? You playing in an esports arena? Are there fist bumps being had?
Unfortunately, not at the moment. We are actually a newer esports program just in general. And it only started a few years ago. So we're just kind of getting on our feet, trying to figure things out and trying to make a name for ourselves, finally.
There you go. Well, hey, finding value in success literally already, and that's just from playing from home and whatnot. Logic would follow, right? Logic would follow once the arena and everything else like that gets built and in person can go. That it can only go up. It can only get better from there. But yeah, I think that's going to be about it from us here over at EGF. Silent, once again, I want to thank you for coming on and give us a minute of your time after the game here, kind of getting a look inside the mind of the players. Before we go, though, before we get you on out of here, I want to ask if you have any shout-outs.
Shout out Don Charlie. Huge support from them today. Appreciate it, and my team as well.
There you go. Don Charlie and the teammates. Love it. Love it. Once again, Silent, we will have you back on in here, but only if you win, because we only have winners in our interview boxes, okay?
Always.
There you go. There you go.
Let's win.
Everybody, this has been Silence of the Southern Utah squad, hot off the back of the 3-0 victory. Again, that was 5-3 in Game 1, 4-1 Game 2, and 3-0 in Game number 3. With that, though, time to light. I do believe we have reached my least favorite part of any broadcast. That, of course, is the end. Any closing thoughts for the good people before we get them on out of here?
Overall, a relatively clean finish to the day between at least our overall series. I'm taking a look at our score lines, and nothing really stood out to me. USC picked up really where we expected them to. North Dakota, a little bit difficult for them here in week 2. Same with Washington State. They looked good in game number 1. Into game number 2, a little bit chaotic, but it really should be better for them coming into week number 3. They need to make sure they pick things up, especially into these more beefy weeks of play, because every game counts. We're getting down to goal and game differentials when it comes to playoffs. If you're losing whole series 3-0, that's where you really need to start coming back.
That's entirely fair. We're like really in the meat, in the thick of this regular EGFC season at this point, right? First game jitters, can't be having those anymore. None here for the side of Southern Utah, and that is going to be about it here for our EGFC broadcast. FBI Tugboat, my man, Time to Light. If you liked what you heard, at FB_Tugboat. If you liked what you heard, at TTL Casts. That's going to be it from us over here on the desk. Appreciate you guys watching, and EGFC will be back with Overwatch tomorrow, CS Friday, Call of Duty on Friday. Sorry? Overwatch 2.
Overwatch 2.
Very good point. Very good point. Overwatch 2. You can't even play Overwatch 1 anymore, people. You can't even play Overwatch 1 anymore. Call of Duty on Friday, CS on Thursday?
It's Overwatch 2 on Thursday, okay. Counter-Strike on Friday, with Valorant and League of Legends both on Saturday. But Rocket League technically isn't done here in the EGF. We still have the University of Hawaii taking on UT Arlington. So if you want to check that out, twitch.tv/official-EGF. We'll also be rating them here. If you don't feel like changing your URL bar, we'll do it for you. But for the time being, again, Overwatch 2 tomorrow, and we're rating the mainstream. If you'd like to stick around for some more Rocket League action, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Something to hold on to, gotta find it first. But here I am, 'cause I've been laying under palm trees waiting for the summer. No
University of Hawaii's offense really showed up in a big way that we haven't seen in the past. So could be kind of an explosive game, hopefully, here for our last game of the night.
No, when it comes to University of Hawaii, their keyword is chemistry. Those three players work together so bloody well, but up against one of the best teams in the world, literally, it's still going to be a tough ask as we head into game 1 here in the best of 5, and Arlington has already got a solid offensive handle.
Already, and University of Hawaii in the green half. We'll have to see how they can do, as not the typical starters for UTA this time around. I believe they had a CRL match earlier, so
They did.
a couple of the backups in, and they're already cooking. Polka Dot scores, and Polka Dot we see more and more frequently make plays like this.
We've been seeing a good, bit of chemistry here in the beginning. All that attrition just leading to the follow-up. Simple but effective. Polka Dot is able to put one away in the first 25 seconds. I mean, that in itself is like crazy. Because either way, it would have been wow. Arlington played in a collegiate match already today with the best teams in the world, and they're still showing up for EGF to destroy another team in a separate division as well. Wow, that's crazy. Now, instead it's just, oh yeah, UT Arlington's roster runs so deep that they just could grab subs for this other match and still dominate. I don't know which statement about that team would be more impressive or more terrifying for whoever's facing off against them, but I mean, either one works for me, as Sin is just going to put one away after a beautiful touch.
Yeah, beautiful play here from Sin, and it really goes to show not only the depth of UTA, but they're going up against a Hawaii squad who also has a great esports program too, a very depth-filled roster across a couple different games as well. So kind of two storied teams here in the last match of the night, but players like Sin, we don't see them all that often from the side of UTA, but when they show up, they can be highlight reel machines at times. So it's going to be fun to see how they perform here against the University of Hawaii.
Yeah, it's really fun watching two, very prominent figures when it comes to gaming. Hawaii, just a role model when it comes to esports, and Arlington, seemingly a role model when it comes to winning in esports. As a minute and a half has raged by, and there hasn't really been any imminent danger for UT Arlington just yet. Here's Nanji.